What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to my first franchise live for the summer, where we are talking the franchise of The Exorcist. I am joined currently by Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror, and Radar DeBoard will be joining in a few more minutes. I, for whatever reason, scheduled this at 9 o'clock, which I never do, and so I just messaged everybody and asked if they could come in a little bit earlier to start. So he'll be coming in just a little bit. But anyway, in the meantime, Ken, you want to talk a little bit about Sledgehammer Horror and just remind everybody what y'all do over there?
Yeah. So my wife and I run Sledgehammer Horror, Ashley, and I do my first horror movie where I bring guests on and we talk about the first horror movie they watched, how it affected them, what got them started in horror. And then Ashley and I together do a segment called Versus, where we take an original and a remake and we verse them against each other. We actually just did this one. We just got done filming this one. So that was actually voted on by the people on the channel. I hate saying fans, by our friends that watch the videos. And then we do Didn't See That Coming, which is another one that Ashley writes, where we talk about a movie with a twist ending, and we pretty much do a deep dive review and dissection of why it was so impactful, why the twist was so important. And we just started a new one called In Defense Of, where we bring a guest on and we talk about a movie that they really, really like that maybe isn't very well loved in the community of horror and why it's worth watching. So far, we've done Jason Goes to Hell, Jason Takes Manhattan. We have upcoming episodes on Halloween Resurrection, Poltergeist 3, Wrong Turn 2021, House of Wax 2005. Child's Play 3 was a really special one for me because that's my favorite in that franchise, my favorite franchise of all time. So and then once a week we do a live video on the channel, either a top 10, a franchise ranking. Pretty soon we're going to be doing deep rankings. In a couple weeks, we're ranking every Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th movie, all 33 movies in one live from worst to best. So,
that's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. It is insane. We try to put out 4 to 5 videos a week. So we are, my wife is super great at writing. So she writes all the episodes, except for my first horror movie, obviously, because it's all, factual and in reality. But all the verses, all the Didn't See That Comings, all the In Defense Of, getting all the, Rotten Tomato scores and, stuff like that. Research, Ashley is a workhorse. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight because she works third shift. But I promise you she is here in spirit. So, we just have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Ashley's going to come in, I think, for an August episode of Influential Horror with me, where we're going to talk her top 5 influential horror movies and why she picked them. Pretty sure I know at least one that will be on the list.
Oh, I'm almost positive I know at least 3.
Yeah. So
at the very least, I know 3. I could probably take a wild guess at all 5, but she's just such a damn wild card. It's funny because I've always been the one in front of the camera. Just for the sheer fact that, I've always been the outgoing one, and Ashley has always been the, more reserved, the introvert. When I first started doing Sledgehammer Horror, it was just me doing everything. And she was coming to me with these ideas, Didn't See That Coming was an idea she came to me with. This is something you should do on the channel. And then she came to me with Verses. And I was like, listen, I'll do these things if you do them with me. So for the longest time, we didn't do them because she was like, no, that's not me. That's you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I finally broke her down enough. And her horror knowledge is just so extensive. Crazy. And she's just so brilliant. It's so cool. To when we're watching stuff, when we're doing our verses, how deep she goes. I'm going to
add Radar to the video.
What's that?
I'm going to add Radar to the
live. Sick.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
but
say
she's
chat, but it's not chat. Hi.
I've never felt more like I have failed a pop quiz than just now. Holy crap. Oh my God. The past 24 hours have been crazy, y'all, with this live.
Oh, we're glad you're here, man. It's nice to officially meet you, brother.
Hey, nice to meet you, kid.
Yeah, you know what is so funny is it's not only crazy from the movie side of it, it's also crazy about like me, the timing and like having to change things and like I don't even. So thank you. I'm so sorry I made you late. That's 100% my fault.
That's all right, I guess.
So
Screw my in-laws. I don't
they're
mean
not
it,
watching,
guys.
are they? You didn't send them the link, right?
No, that'd be
Right.
really bad, but they might watch it later. Who knows?
Who knows?
They're screaming downstairs right now. Radar!
Dude, what?
For today, your middle name is James. So they're downstairs right now like, Radar James! How dare you?
They're like, guys, I'm trying to live stream.
I'm so glad you're able to come. I'm sorry I made you late, but thank you for being here. We already did Sledgehammer's like introduction to like what they do on their channel. Do you just want to talk a little, about your books and stuff, Radar, while we're here? Now that you're here, sorry.
Now that I'm here, I'm Radar DeBoard. That's all right. I'm Radar DeBoard, and I am a horror author, like as my side gig, because you don't get a lot of money writing, but it's truth. But I've got 4 books out currently through Amazon. One's a sci-fi horror series, and the other's just your I don't want to say run of the mill, but like each book is a creature of the week sort of thing. So like one's a killer gargoyle book, and the other one's like some sea monsters. So
dope, dude.
Eventually I'll do the other 2 that I need to for those series, but I got a different idea. I'm gonna write it, so I'm writing it right now. So, and that'll be fun to get out there somewhere.
When we're done here, man, can you DM me your Amazon link so I can check these out? Do you have an audio book, or do you just have physical copy?
Just physical copy.
Okay, yeah.
I can't afford audiobooks. Come on.
You're good. Just DM me, man, because I would love to. I love reading, man, and I love to read horror. I love science fiction. So when we're done, please DM me. I would love to check these out.
Absolutely, my man.
Yeah. You also do content. You're a content creator.
Oh yeah, I forget about that. Yeah. Oops.
Oh yeah, that stuff too.
That stuff, but that's because I have a TikTok and a Twitter, but I started both because I'm like, this will help promote my books, and it really hasn't. But and maybe it's because I forget to promote my books on TikTok because I'm just making different videos and like, oh crap, I gotta plug my books every once in a while. So every 50th video, I'm like, I write books. I had like 40 of my followers the other day go like, you're a writer?
Oh no.
What? I was like, yeah, I guess I haven't done a video about that in a while.
Oh no.
So
that's so great.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're talking the Exorcist franchise, and this is the admission thing. I'm going to do the hellos really quick. We have a couple of hellos. These might be people Ken knows.
Hey, Dice!
Yeah. Nathan, hey.
What's up, buddy?
Lexi, hi, Lexi.
Lexi
Hello,
in
Lexi.
the house.
Lexi says, hey, Radar.
I love it.
Mother-in-law flying kicks the door down.
Shit.
Dice is one of my best friends, man. They are so funny. Like every live stream and every chance that we get to work with Dice, they are always like just so amazing, and they kill Ashley and me. Like they're genuinely, like I said, one of our best friends.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. That's awesome. I did not know there were this many movies in the Exorcist franchise. So when I was like, I knew I didn't need to rewatch the first one. That one is embedded. But I needed to revisit 3. So this was what I thought existed. 1, I knew about 2, but I had never watched it. 3. And then I realized after the fact I had seen the beginning at some point in my life, but I didn't really remember it. But then when I looked up like the movies in the franchise, there was like 5 of them. And I was like, oh no, like I'm not gonna be able. And so I ended up, I didn't rewatch the beginning, but I watched 2 for the first time, and I rewatched 3 to get ready, to talk about it. But I just didn't know there were that many. Like I was really surprised that there was 5. But then Ken told me something cool about Dominion that I did not know, which is
it is the exact same as part 4. It's the same actors, it's the same script. Here's what happened, and I'm not trying to be like I know everything, but I'm a huge fan of the Exorcist franchise as a whole. And they had filmed Dominion, and they completely filmed the movie, presented it to the studio, and the studio was like, "This sucks, shelve it, and do it again, but change some things around in it." So they completely refilmed the whole thing. And
they filmed it twice.
Yes, with little changes, but there are scenes that are shot for shot, take for take.
Yeah.
And the story is, I would say, 80% the exact same.
That's wild.
And then, like a year after the beginning came out, they were like, let's make some more money and just release this one. And so they released it as a sequel when it's really just like the exact same
no idea
as part 4.
I freaked out last night and was like, all right, I gotta watch Dominion. I don't want to be Angel entering the Leprechaun franchise when we did that live where she only saw like 2 of them.
I saw more than 2. I just didn't see all of them.
But I did.
Yeah, well, you were clearly more committed to me.
I was like, I just don't. Well, and then come to find out I thought there were more than 5. There's only 5. So I had whiplash from that, and I was like, oh, well, the last exorcism's in there, right? And then, nope, it's not in there. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going on. So I was like, I got to desperately try to watch Dominion. I started watching it, made it 20 minutes in where it's like to the scene where I have no idea what the hell was going on. I looked away from my computer for 2 seconds, and there's like a pack of hyenas like approaching him. And it's just the worst CGI I've seen in a long time. I was like, please. And then Angel reached out, was like, we're only doing the first 3. And I went, thank God.
Well, if you continue with Dominion, like there are parts in the movie where they didn't even finish the CGI. Like there's a part at the end where the bad guy is walking and his face turns completely white. And then it comes back. They were supposed to put something over top of it as like a scary thing, and they just didn't do it. Like, so if you go in and you watch it, like his face literally just turns pure white and then comes back.
God.
Like, and you're like, what happened there? Like,
it's bonkers.
Yeah, it's insane. And I know we're really only covering the first 3, but something I want to say real quick.
Yeah.
The Exorcist 4, the beginning, is actually my 3rd favorite in this franchise. And there are genuine moments in that film to me that are so scary and so dark. Like when you have the Nazis and they bring the people out and, he's praying. He's like, are you praying to God? And then he starts, God is not here today, priest.
God is
starts
not here.
Shooting people.
Yeah.
You're just like, what the hell?
That was rough, yeah.
Or at the end when they're in the cavern and the girl is running through, like on the long shot. Nah, I'm good. That scared the shit out of me. So I just wanted to bring that up before we actually started talking about the first 3.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say this too, just as like since Radar trying to come in here, call me out on not seeing all the Leprechaun movies.
That's right.
One of the reasons I started doing the franchise lives wasn't just to focus on franchises that I loved, but to have an opportunity to talk to people who have love for these franchises that I haven't done anything with. Which is this one, we're doing Lexi and I think JR and Rick from Horror Fiend are all going to come on to do Nightmare on Elm Street. I've got some watching to do there. We're doing Underworld, so I wanted the opportunity to come on and talk about franchises that maybe I really always meant to go back and watch all of, but I never did. Or, just things to revisit where other people are like really excited about them. Radar.
Oh, trust me. After watching them, I'm not excited about the Leprechaun series anymore.
Well, fair enough. That was for March, though. That was totally different. But anyway, so
I what are your guys' favorite? What was your favorite Leprechaun movie? I'm just curious.
In the Hood.
Yeah, probably In the Hood. Honestly,
My favorite. I love that one.
That
so
or the third one, I think, where they're in like Vegas or something. 'cause that
Vegas
one has
was
the
funny.
coolest-
Vegas
has
was
the
a good
coolest
one.
kills.
I'm going to be completely honest. My favorite one is the very last one, the sci-fi one, the Leprechaun Returns, not Origins. Not
I
one
didn't, and that's the
Hornswoggle.
one I think I didn't know about.
Oh,
when
okay,
we
yeah.
talked about it. Yeah,
That's my
Right,
favorite
not the-
one.
where
Not
it's
the one where
somebody
it's
else
like a weird
playing.
beast thing. It's like a different
Yeah.
dude. Okay.
Yeah,
I
For a
love
second,
that
I thought
one.
you were gonna say like, no, the one where it's like a beast instead of a leprechaun, and I was gonna go, hold
No,
on there,
no,
Ken.
fuck that movie.
Pop those brakes.
That was bad. Teach Grant was in it though, and he was fantastic. He did a great job in that movie. But
Yeah.
besides that, no. That
Give a
movie was
shout out to
terrible.
Danny M right there in the comments. He knows what's up.
yeah. Hi, I was just getting back to those.
What
Yeah.
did Danny say?
We'll highlight it. Put it on that screen. Boom.
Exorcist 3, one of the most underrated. We definitely, I think maybe all three of us definitely have some love to share there. Lexi says she loves the franchise. She's coming in to talk Nightmare. Nightmare is like her baby, so that's the one she's going to come on for. Nathan says Exorcist 2 is Ken's favorite.
Uh-oh.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Everybody that knows me knows when we get to Exorcist 2 exactly what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind that should be interesting anyway, because I just watched it for the very first time yesterday.
Mhm.
So, yep. Hi, Ashton.
Hey, what's up, Ash?
Only villain with a weakness. Toss him a box of old shoes and get the fuck out. That's definitely JR. That's his favorite. He loves the Leprechaun franchise. Exorcist 3 is my favorite. Yeah, yeah. So I guess we'll start this out quickly, just kind of going through and like talking about like ranking them, because I don't think that's going to be hard for any of us to do. And I'll start with Ken since you're to my side. You go first.
Okay. Are we going from least favorite to favorite?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Least favorite to 5 to 1.
Least
Wait, whoa!
favorite
I thought we were
is-
doing only the first three.
Well, you don't. That's fine. He can rank I haven't seen the 5th one, so just rank them anyway.
Okay. Here's my thing. Not only is it my least favorite Exorcist movie, it's the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and that's The Exorcist 2: The Heretic.
Dang.
It's bad.
It's the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I wanted to smash my face into a wall the whole time. I've never checked a timestamp to see if the movie was done yet as many times as I have with that. Number 4 would be Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 would be The Beginning. Number 2 will be The OG. And my favorite is The Exorcist 3. And it's honestly in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, because The Exorcist 3 is everything I love. Like it's a supernatural film. It's a slasher film.
Mm-hmm.
It's super dark. There's super funny moments in it. Like
It's super.
my wife's mother-in-law has had a fish in my bath for the last like
if I go home and see that thing swimming.
yeah, like there's super funny moments in it. And he's great. George C. Is it George
I think it's
Scott?
Scott, right? Or no?
Yeah,
Let me
George
look it up
Scott.
real fast.
Yeah.
He was the grandpa in Angus. He was in The
Yep.
Changeling. Like he's
been in a bunch of
phenomenal
stuff.
in everything he does.
Yeah.
Brad Dourif's performance
Oh my god.
as the Gemini killer is just
Beautiful.
such a powerful performance.
Brad
And-
always delivers, though.
So true.
Well, and watching The Exorcist 3 for the first time, I didn't watch The Exorcist 3 for the first time until probably 8 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the minute I shut that movie off, I hated The Exorcist 2 even more for making me not want to watch this movie sooner. Like people were like, "You should watch The Exorcist 3," and I was like, "Fuck no, I've seen The Exorcist 2. I'm not going anywhere near that pile of shit." And then I watched it, and I was like, "Exorcist 2!" Like, I was so angry.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, Radar. What's your list for 1 through 3?
Oh, well, I'm gonna rank Dominion too.
Okay.
So 4th, Exorcist 2. Yeah, it's a steaming pile of crap. 3, the 20 minutes of Dominion I watched are better than Exorcist 2. even with the hyenas, I'm like, this is still pretty much better than half the stuff in the Heretic. So
In two, yeah.
Let's see, where am I at now? Oh, okay. Number 2 is the OG, kind of like Ken, and then number 1, Exorcist 3 for surezies. I love that movie so much.
Yeah,
it's just so good, and you put it out pretty well, Ken, of what's so great about it, anyways. From like a short summary, anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
And it has like just the
Exorcist
cinematography
2
of it,
is so
like,
bad.
when you have the old lady on the ceiling, like that was all practically done. There was no special effects with that. Everything in that scene was shot practically. It has the greatest jump scare of all time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The greatest
it made the Shudder list, the Shudder like top list for 100 most scariest moments or whatever. Yeah, look, this is all like Exorcist 2. Exorcist 2 is so bad. Exorcist 2 Locusts.
Locusts!
I would rather watch paint dry than watch Exorcist 2.
Dang.
And Nathan has the same ranking as Ken.
That's my little brother, man.
Yeah, I think I had not seen 2 until literally yesterday, because I think when I saw The Exorcist, the original, when I was pretty young, and I'd always heard about how terrible the second one was, so I just never watched it. And then when 3 came out, people that I trusted in my horror sense were like, okay, this is really good. So I watched it a long time ago. And then I think the only reason I ever saw the beginning is because it was on TV. Like I feel like I saw it on, like, I don't know, maybe the Sci-Fi Channel or something. I saw it. It just was on. So I watched it. It was never anything I like paid to see or anything like that. And so as far as like my rankings, I haven't seen Dominion. But my 4th is definitely 2. The Heretic was really, really bad. And it's unfortunate because I will say that as badly executed as it was, there was some really cool concepts that if they had been done better, like I liked the machine. I thought that was cool, but what they did with it was like not cool. It just got like really, really convoluted throughout as they're like trying to, I just thought that part was like, ugh. But it sucked because I thought that could have been used to make it a different type of movie, and they ended up just kind of like wasting it, in my opinion. And then what I did 4. Oh, I guess I'd put The Beginning would be 3rd for me. And I mean, I love 3 and 1 are really, really close for me, but I would put 3 as my number 2 and the OG as my number 1.
That's it, I'm leaving.
I'm kidding. Just here. But I will say this: they are neck and neck for complete. And I have a love for both of them for such different reasons. Because the original Exorcist I saw when I was so young, and it scared the hell out of me. To this day, there are scenes in that movie that I cannot think about for too long, or I will freak myself out. Whereas in 3 is scary, but 3 was scary in a completely different way. And it reminds me, this is like one of those things where you can see the influence of The Exorcist 3 in other films. So it reminds me of those elements that made like Silence of the Lambs scary, which came out like the following year. And then like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, like that one was scary. Like that court and cop pieces, those pieces together, there's just something about that made it just like so, it just makes it so good. And the woman on the ceiling, by the way, was another scene that I did not see coming, because they picked those moments like so carefully.
Oh yeah.
So when it happened, you're like, oh shit. Same with the coming out in the hallway, like moments you thought whatever was going to happen was done, and you got fooled. And that was, really well done.
Thank God it came out before like the big jump scare kind of craze.
Yeah.
Because they never used like one of those fake out sort of jump scares either. And that one jump scare that comes, it just comes out of nowhere.
It does.
It just, and that's why it's so good.
Well, and Angel, you were talking about the OG, and people that know Sledgehammer Horror know this story. I was so lucky. I grew up, my mom and dad owned a mom and pop video store. So like I grew up around, VHS and movies and Nintendo cartridges. Like that was my whole childhood. Yeah. And The Exorcist was the only movie that my mom shut off. She was like, nope, too much. We're not doing this. And so like that movie always had this like stigma around it to me because my mom shut it off. I never got to finish watching it.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I just remember always being so scared of that movie. And to this day, I think it's probably the scariest movie. Like if we were ranking them by how scared they made us, one would have been my number one. And it's what I love so much about The Exorcist is watching it as a child versus watching it as a father, to me, are two completely different viewing experiences.
Absolutely.
I watch it as a child and I feel what Reagan's going through, but at the same time, I'm like, she's possessed. Burn the fucking house down. Get out of there. Move it over. Scene. We're done. But then, like, as a dad, like, I watched the scene where they're all in the room and "help me" is like carved into Reagan's stomach, and it's like that's my little girl is still in there. Like, what can I do to save my baby? So like you go through these different emotions watching this as a child versus watching it as even an adult. You don't have to be a parent to have empathy, but to be a parent and watch this, it hit me a little harder, as an adult. And it's just such a brilliant movie from front to back, and I think it's fantastic. I think it really is. The performances are great. It's extremely scary, such a scary movie. And the things that she had to go through as such a young lady, like they take her in this room and they're like, do you know what masturbation is? We're going to have you, like they had to have a talk with her about this shit. And it's like, what the fuck? She's like 12, man. Like,
young.
Because I didn't know what that was. That's where my mom shut the film off, by the way. And I was like, I watch Jason stab people all the time. Well, why are we so worked up about her stabbing herself? I don't fucking, then I get older and I'm like, oh. I get it now, but I just wanted to add that in, like when it comes to The Exorcist. The first three Exorcist movies are for me. Like the first Exorcist is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The Exorcist 2 is the worst movie I've ever seen, and The Exorcist 3 is the best movie in this franchise, and it is possibly it's probably, like I said, it's in my top 5 favorite films of all time.
That's great.
So I could, like, I was so stoked when you invited me on to talk about. I know I'm chewing up too much airtime, guys, but
no, you're
I'm
fine.
so passionate about this franchise. Like it's so dope to talk about such a great franchise, except for 2, like a piece of shit. If 2 was a person, I would have fought him. Like we would have fought in high school, but we would have it would have been that thing, like, how sometimes you fight someone in high school and then you see each other when you're adults. You're like, yo, what's up, man? We're different. We've grown up. We've changed since high school. I would have fought part 2 every time I seen it. Like, it would have been a fight on site every time we ran into each other. Like,
put him up.
Yeah, like, yo, Exorcist 2, me and John are going out. Is Ken going to be there? Because if he is, we're going to fight. And it'd be the same thing. Like, Ken, me and Mikey are going out. That's cool, but is Exorcist 2 going to be there? Because if Exorcist 2 is there, I'm probably going to punch it in his tap dancing face. So, like, you need to let me know what's happening if Exorcist 2 is going to be around, because we're going to have problems. That's how much I hate this movie.
Yeah. I wish I could say Exorcist 2 was the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's just not. But it's so bad, though. It's so bad, though.
The first Exorcist, the first 3 movies are literally a shit sandwich, because you got the perfect bread.
Outside,
right in the middle of them. Like, it's just, oh God, I hate that movie.
Oh man, it truly. I think that's what makes it even worse. Is that the 2 just at the other ends of it are so damn good.
Yes, man. Like,
well, and I'm thinking too,
cinematic masterpieces.
When you think about like all the stuff they went through with 1, and all of the things kind of around that, and what like she went through, when she wasn't on camera because of what the film involved, like all these things, you would think that going through all of that and making this like really wild film for its time, and then going into a sequel that felt like there was like no effort put into the concept at all. It's such a weird jump given everything that they went through. Yeah, but, well, of course, because it did. Yeah, but it's just like it's so, and then the jump to 3 really should have been the sequel, right? Like I think 3 being the sequel, you do the 2 and then you're done, and that's fine. But it's just it's such a crazy. Like, I've seen really bad sequels, but like this definitely is like it's at the top.
It's like seeing like the high school quarterback, and like high school was The Exorcist. And he's buff, he's ripped, he's in great physical shape. And then it's like going 6 months without seeing him and seeing him just walk into like out of a donut shop with 200 extra pounds on him and going like, what the fuck just happened?
And he's still wearing his varsity jacket.
Yeah, he's still like wearing it. It's like up to here. You
Yeah.
can see his belly button. He's like, what's up, man?
Y'all's real life examples are killing me.
Well, I mean, like, it's true though. Like, cause like, oh my God, like, and I don't want to say like Linda Blair, like the performances in The Exorcist 2 aren't what kills the movie. What kills The Exorcist 2 for me is they literally did not give a shit. Like with the first movie, they cared. They wanted to make art. With the second movie, the studio was like, that movie made a lot of money. Let's buy into that. Let's use that name. Let's make that film again. But let's just turn it into dog shit. Don't spend any money on it because we don't want to waste money. Just make the cheapest piece of shit you can make. Let's put Linda Blair in it so we have some cool things in the trailer. Where are the locusts? Bring them in. Okay.
Oh my God, the locust shots.
And when the guy's falling in the cave and he's just like, he literally looks like one of the puppet things from Team America. He's like,
Oh,
like
no.
it's just like, what are we doing? Like, it's me. Like that's what I felt like watching this, but it wasn't funny. It was sad. It was like watching The Exorcist 2 is like putting your dog down. You're never happy through any part of it. Like when you find out you have to do it, the beginning, when you're on your drive there, the second act, when your dog gets put down, the third act, the whole time you're just miserable. And that's The Exorcist 2. It's like putting your dog down. Like nobody's happy doing this. Like
have that be the quote for the live stream right there.
Watching The Exorcist 2 is like having to put your dog down.
Sledgehammer Horror.
So, Dice, side note for relevancy, I've met Linda Blair. That's really cool. I've heard she's fantastic to meet and interact with. I hadn't seen Exorcist 2, otherwise I would have asked her about that.
she probably would have been like, what are you talking about, Dice? I've never seen that film.
I've never heard of this part.
I don't remember anything about that.
Stay far away from it. Yep. I was always told not to watch 2, and I legitimately like only watched it because I felt like I needed it for reference for the conversation, because I had seen 1 and 3 in the beginning, and so the 4th one, but I just was like, oh no, I'm just gonna like commit and watch it. And I don't regret it for the sake of having these conversations, but also like definitely not one I'm ever gonna rewatch. They should have made part 2 about how she was older, got a boyfriend, and the devil would come out of her. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, would it really matter what the idea was if everyone involved didn't give a fuck?
I mean, it was not handled with like any level of care. The Exorcist 2 just oozes with disdain for the first film.
Mm-hmm. And I don't like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. Like, I wish I could go back and be like a fly on the wall in the writer's room when they were writing this film.
A locust on the wall.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a fly. I would be like a bee or like a venomous praying mantis and just be biting everyone the whole time. Like, did you say she's tap dancing? Come here. We need to talk.
Come on, let's do it.
Like, what? You're going to burn the house down to kill a demon? Bite time. Come here. Get over here. We got to do this. I'm sorry. You brought this on yourself. Okay? It's just things like that. Like, I just can't. I don't know, man. I don't want to sound like I'm overselling. Like, this is to the point where I have very, very good friends that would come to me and be like, dude, you need to watch The Exorcist 3. And I'd be like, we were friends. Like, what are you trying to do to me right now? Like, is this a funny prank to you? Because it's not funny to me. Okay. Like, I'm not laughing. And then I finally broke down and watched it because I was doing a franchise ranking. And I was just like,
yeah. See,
wow,
it's helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
This movie is dope.
It was good. Yeah.
And it's
also like for it to have come out, because the third one, Exorcist 3 came out in 1990. But there's like, so, and they reference the time gap a lot, and all the things that have happened in that time frame, which is great. But also like it still has the 90s feel, but the amount of time that has passed in any other franchise would not have worked. Like there's just something about the way they staged that 15-year time frame, and there's like, oh, it's been 15 years. Oh, it's been 15 years, where you're just like, I totally believe in everything that they're selling me right now. Like
Mhm.
it's something that like that was something that was an important thing to mention, because if they had ignored it altogether, who knows? But the way that they set up how long it has been and how well that still worked, because
Right.
how many times have we seen other film franchises do the exact same thing, and then when it's this huge time gap, it ends up being really fucking stupid and we hate it and it's dumb.
Right. Well, and they casted the perfect person to pull that off, because George C. Scott like hit 60, like well he hit
Yeah.
the part where he looked like he was 60 and then stuck with it for 30 years.
Right.
The man looked the same. So you could have told me it was 200 years in the future and I would have still believed it, because that's just how George C. Scott looks. I would have been like, yeah, that makes plausible sense. So
Right.
that was also fantastic job on the casting director's part for the third one.
And I feel bad because, like, I've had other people, that I've recommended it to, like, bro, you got to check out The Exorcist 3. And they're like, I had respect for you until now. And I'm like, seriously, man, like, the movie's so good. But then I've had other people that have been like, I don't even want to watch The Exorcist 3 because of how much I love part 1. And I don't want to taint how I feel about that film. And I'm like,
yeah.
like my elevator pitch is like, listen, this is a completely different film. Like
Yep.
where that's just a supernatural possession movie. This is a supernatural slasher, and you get a lot more blood, a lot more like real genuine jump scares. Like it's a totally different type of film, but it
Yeah.
has so much respect for the first film. Like that's
It
always
does.
like my thing. Like, and if you don't like it, we were friends. I don't know. Like I don't know what to say. Like the movie's so good, you're going to like it. Like I can't stress that enough. Like you're gonna love the movie.
Yeah, and when you're talking about like it having love and respect for the original, one of the things that it kind of I feel like does really well also is like, because one of the things that I really loved about the original was the ability to like make us as viewers, we were involved in these intimate relationships, this mother and daughter, these two, like I mean every relationship dynamic that we're introduced to we care about, and that's exactly what happens in 3. The moment you meet these individual storylines, you've got when he goes home to his family, when he's with his, like all of those things, you are like invested and you are believing that relationship. And when you're putting all of those pieces together, it totally impacts how all of those like super tense moments, like when that fucking lady is at his house and she pulls out those things and you're just like, oh my God, like it builds because you care about the characters and their relationships to one another on camera, which is something that gets dropped all the time and definitely was not present in 2 by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't even think they probably had food on set during 2. Like that's why everybody was so shitty. Like they're like, we're not spending any money, guys. Like I want you to understand this. Like we're gonna make this movie on a budget of $18. And
everyone get your own costumes.
Do here. Like, come in your street clothes. There's no wardrobe. There will be no makeup. Do the damn thing. This girl's on fire. We're gonna light this on fire. She's gonna stand behind it and just go.
Oh, that shot is so bad.
Like it's just I don't know, man. Like this is turning into such a negative stream, Angel, and I'm sorry, but God.
Well, it's gonna.
We gotta focus on hyping up the book in 2.
Right.
Hype those bad boys up.
This does not help with the negativity, but don't worry, David Gordon Green will make his trilogy so bad you'll love Exorcist 2 more.
Well, I know that David Gordon Green's The Exorcist bombed at its first screenings.
Yep.
It did. It had a really, really bad first screening.
Horrible reactions. Yep.
They've gone back in to do some recuts.
That's
the worst thing about the new David Gordon Green Exorcist films is the same thing I said when I found out he was doing the Halloween films. Mm-hmm. Do not tell me you're doing a trilogy right away. That is the dumbest fucking thing.
That's so bad.
Like hey, we're doing an Exorcist film because you're already telling me when this is just my thought on the matter.
Yeah.
You're already telling me you don't give a shit about the first film. You don't care at all because you're going to do 3 of them no matter what. You don't care if it's a success. You don't care if it bombs. You don't give a shit about how audiences are going to react to your first film. That you're already telling them, hey, we got 3 coming. So if you don't like the first one, maybe there's more. I don't like we're gonna announce right away it's a trilogy, which is funny because with Halloween it worked out because Halloween 2018 was, in my humble opinion, leaps and bounds better than what came after. Like,
I love
much better.
It's one of the best movies in that franchise.
Yeah,
Agreed.
totally agree.
Agreed. Top 3 in that franchise. But again, as everybody knows, I'm not a Halloween purist. But it has the best moment of any Halloween film when Karen's in the basement and she's like, I can't do it. Gotcha. Yeah. Like, our whole theater was like, woo, Judy Greer, marry me. You're like, that was dope, man. And I just really hope that if he goes into The Exorcist, I like how it's the same type of thing. It's a requel. Ellen Bernstein's coming back, which I think is dope. I think it's kind of weird that they're bringing her back.
Yeah.
But they're not bringing Linda Blair back. Linda Blair. That's odd from me.
I think she's like in it for like 5 minutes or something, right? Because she only did a few.
That's what I heard too.
Just like briefly. So yeah, that is weird though.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like with the Halloween, I don't want to get too off track, but where they really messed up in that franchise, that little trilogy of films, they tried too hard to be like the OG Halloweens, and I'm hoping we don't get that. You had the first one, and then the second one was an exact continuation, just like in Halloween 2. And then Halloween Ends was your Halloween Season of the Witch, your Halloween 3, where you were just like, we're going to go way off here. And I think Halloween Ends is a good film. I'm going to be the guy to say it.
No, I love that one. I don't love that one. I'm sorry. I like that one. I love Kills. I'm so used to people saying that they hate Kills and then people being like, no, I'm not ashamed to admit I love Kills. I like immediately put that in my head that's what you said.
But again, I think while I think The Exorcist 2 is the worst movie I've ever seen, directly behind it, like right behind it, is Halloween 6, The Dumb Faces of Paul Rudd. I think that movie's so dumb, so stupid. I hate it.
That one was pretty bad.
It is pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
It's stupid. But again, I'm not a big Halloween fan, so I don't mind saying like I really like Halloween 2018 a lot. I think Halloween Kills is good. I think the dialogue was poorly written. I think the stuff in the hospital was ridiculous. Like looking at that guy and being like, that's Michael Myers, is like looking at me and being like, Michael Jordan, I know you. Shoot this basketball.
It's bad.
There's no comparison. But with Halloween Ends, if Halloween Ends, just like with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, if it would have been its own standalone film, it would have been way more successful. Yep. But to put it as the third part of a trilogy that you've already announced, we're doing a trilogy, so we know this is the end, with the name too. But and then to be like, hey, we're going to introduce a brand new character you've never seen before. We're going to make your main protagonist way weaker than she's been in any of the other films. We're going to make your antagonist weaker than he's been in any of the other films. In the last movie, he beat the shit out of the whole town. In this movie, a kid that got beat up by band geeks is going to come and throw him down and take his mask. What? Like, there's just so many things that they did wrong for it being the third part of a trilogy. But had it been its own movie, or had Corey been introduced in Halloween Kills, there's so many different ways that would have made Halloween Ends a little more successful, in my opinion.
I agree.
I just hope that they don't take that same route with The Exorcist, like make a really scary, really, tense first film, take a huge shit on a projector for the second film, and then try to make up for it with a super amazing third film. Like, don't do that. If you're going to reimagine these films in a future setting, just be good. Like, just make it your own. Don't try to be a curveball. Don't try to, because they said that. Like, even Jamie Lee Curtis was like, people are going to hate Halloween Ends. She knew the backlash that was coming because she was a part of 78 and 81, and then she's seen what happened with Season of the Witch. So she knew going into Ends, she's like, this isn't going to Halloween Ends well for any of us. But it's one of those things where go back, if you watched Halloween Ends when it came out and you were pissed because you felt I got robbed of what should have been the third part of a trilogy, go back and rewatch it with an open mind as its own standalone film. And I think it's right in the middle of the franchise for me.
I mean, it's fine if you take it on its own. But like you said, a lot of people were expecting something else, like with Halloween 3, and then lo and behold, they got really mad when they didn't get that, which
Well, I think that with that too, like with I think Corey Cunningham's fantastic. I love his character. I think the worst part of Halloween Ends is when Michael like Twilight imprints on him. Like, when they're in the sewer, he like all I could see like when they were looking at each other was like, I have died every day waiting for you. Take my evil young one. Like that to me was dog shit. I was like, what are we, guys? Come on. And then I will say like a positive about Halloween Ends, and I'm totally including the OG Halloween 78 in this. Halloween Ends has the best first 10 minutes of any Halloween film ever. When that kid fell and bounced off the floor.
That opening set the bar too high.
I was like, let's go. They don't got to worry about a college fund.
When the font, the blue comes up, I was like, because Season of the Witch is my favorite Halloween movie. That's my number one of the franchise. So when that font came up, I was like, I'm here. Let's do this. Yep. And then that's not what happened. We didn't do anything.
No. There was 30 minutes of sad boy time, which
I know. Yeah.
That's 29 minutes too many of sad boy time.
29 minutes too many.
You get 1 minute of sad boy time, and then you got to move on, guys.
I might catch up on comments really quick. Danny, I like The Exorcist because the whole religious component, I felt like a dirty secret of the Vatican was being put on display, which is obviously exorcism. So that's that's one of the reasons I like possession films in general. Anything that ties religion to horror, I'm there. Totally there.
I grew up in a extremely religious household. So that's something for me that that's why I've always said like possession type horror movies, those are my favorite because they scare me. The scaredest I've ever been at a movie is 2020's The Dark and the Wicked. That movie scared the shit out of me.
That movie is so good. Haunted by Horror says Brad Dourif is so good in that type of role. The episode of X-Files that he was in makes me think of Exorcist 3 because the characterization me.
I just watched that episode about 2 weeks ago. And I was just like, this is Exorcist 3 again. But I wasn't complaining. I was like, it was more like, this is The Exorcist 3 again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horror fiend. He will forever will be my enemy for ruining Halloween. Talking about David Gordon Green.
Yeah.
Halloween Ends was like, what the fuck? No, you didn't do that to Michael.
To be fair, Michael had already gotten his ass kicked by Busta Rhymes.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think about that movie.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's in my top 5 of the franchise.
No.
Dead serious. I've never once watched Halloween Resurrection and been like, I'm fucking bored. This is stupid.
It's entertaining.
So
it is entertaining.
It is entertaining.
Like, I genuinely have fun with that movie. Like, it is but fun. Again, not a huge Halloween fan. I think Halloween overall is boring as shit.
I don't know who this is that Dice is talking about. Don't become the next.
Very infamous bad director. Yeah.
You a ball?
That comment made me laugh my ass off. Thank you, Ness.
Oh, are you reading ahead?
You can't spoil the comments.
I can't read ahead because I'm on a phone. So
Halloween Ends sucks. Oh yeah, so now we're getting like all the Halloween.
Yeah, oops.
Bromance in the sewer.
Yeah.
Corey
that sounds like the best punk
Michael.
rock. That sounds like the best punk rock band name ever. What's up, guys? We're Bromance in the Sewer.
Bromance in the Sewer.
This song's called I'm Going to Twilight Pass My Love and Imprint Onto You, Corey.
Oh, my God. The minute you overhype a film saying it's going to be more disturbing and scarier than the original is a horrid selling point. Yeah, you don't say that.
Yeah,
that's
you shouldn't do that.
Should have had the mark out after the eye. Yeah. I'd have to rewatch it. I definitely think it's one you should watch more than once.
Yeah.
Not mark out. I was like, what does mark out mean? Make out. Got it. I'm with you now. I'll die on my Halloween Ends hill.
Ashton loves Halloween Ends.
You know what? I know a lot of like die-hard Halloween fans that have a lot of love for it. Really do. Corey should have been in. Yep, that's what Ken was saying. I agree. That relationship took 24 hours to. Oh yeah, with Allison, that was
that probably should have been a little better.
Are we talking about Allison and Corey or Corey and Michael? Like,
I was talking about
Michael right on his moped. You know, like I get
it. You know what it gave me? That scene. We're gonna get back on The Exorcist, I promise. But that scene when they're in the top of the building of the radio of the radio station, and you've got that like red light. I was like, this is like Lost Boys shit. Like this is something from like. You know, I just was expecting one of them to be a vampire. Did
you read the interview with David Gordon Green when he talked about the original written ending for Halloween Ends?
No,
I haven't seen it.
I'm not being funny. I'm not making jokes. the movie was gonna end with Michael being destroyed, crucified in the compactor, and the camera was gonna cut over to the Silver Shamrock factory.
Oh yes, I did know about this.
And the factory was going to start pushing out Michael Myers masks instead of the big three masks. But I'm like, Michael wasn't a robot. You can't do that.
No, I don't think they should have done that. But the concepts, because the tie-ins for Season of the Witch are there. So it would have been really cool for there to have been something. Because there's the logo for the Silver Shamrock is on the shelves when they're in the store. There's like all these little nods to it.
Look at 2018. They had all three of the masks.
All the masks. Like I would have been cool with a pan away over to the factory and the lights come on. That's all. That would have been enough.
They should have gone for broke and just peered over into like the junkyard and show Stonehenge behind it. Just like, there you go.
They should have showed Stonehenge, and then they should have had a tumbleweed go by, and then Danielle Harris and Joshua Hartnett walk up like there's something very familiar about it.
Something's going on.
And Joshua Hartnett still has that dumb fucking haircut, and he's just
from when he was in the faculty.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Is that on purpose? His fucking cowlicks in the faculty? I know we're getting off topic, but is that on purpose?
It's not the only movie he's like that in, so I have no idea.
How the fuck was that ever allowed?
Also, it's just as bad as Gale's in Scream 3.
Yeah, oh yeah. People need to watch Scream 3 if they haven't, just for those bangs.
Just for that. Halloween Ends and Jason Goes to Hell.
Damn it, Ashley, that is so untrue. So fucking untrue. Jason Goes to Hell is a masterpiece in cinema.
Oh, good. I won't worry about knowing who that is then if it's not somebody I need to know.
You truly shouldn't know who that is because, oof.
If they would have left off with Corey in an asylum with a mask under his pillow, I would have been moderately happy.
Or how about the fact that since you
it was the 90s for the bangs.
Yeah.
It was the 90s, man. Come on.
Since you can here's my thing, because could you continue the Halloween franchise? Of course you could, because you can imprint evil on people. So when Corey smashed Allison and got her pregnant, she gets born with a baby Michael, and he's got the mask on, like, I got the devil's eyes, bitch.
Jason Goes to Hell shits on Halloween Ends.
Yes, it does, because it's a fucking masterpiece.
I'm not sorry.
Jason Goes to Hell is so fun.
I'm such a Jason Goes to Hell defender, man. Like the very first episode we did of In Defense Of was on Jason Goes to Hell with our buddy Josh Eppert. He's the drummer from the band Coheed Cambria.
Yeah.
And he came on with us and defended that movie because of how much we all just like growing up loved that movie. Like that movie's so dope, man. Like it proves once and for all that Jason is a Deadite. Like it's all connected to the Evil Dead universe. It has the best ending of any horror movie with Freddy's glove coming up and taking that mask.
Yeah.
But The Exorcist is cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I will tell you the truth. When I was getting my franchise list, and some of these I did by putting out feelers on Twitter, some of them I did polls. I specifically did not do Halloween because there were a bunch of them in the franchise I did not want to have to go back and rewatch. I specifically didn't do Halloween because of the fact that there's so much. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to do.
Don't ever do Halloween. Don't ever do Hellraiser.
No, I won't do Hellraiser either.
Just my opinion. The two worst horror franchises for me are the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mm-hmm. I think the first one is great. I think the remake is good, and I think the newest Leatherface movie is really good. What's up, sweetie? You want to do one with me real quick? Come here. Let me cover
what are your opinions on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Who's your favorite?
Michael Myers.
Oh,
Michael
Myers.
Say no more.
You're out, I like the newest Leatherface movie, like where like it's all the kids and they're in the asylum, then they break out, and I loved that movie. The only bad part of that movie is how Bud isn't Leatherface. Like that was great. Who else do you like? You like Michael Myers, and who else do you like, baby?
Jason.
You like Jason?
Ooh. Sounds like a little mom and dad influence going on.
Jason.
No, who's daddy's favorite?
Michael Myers.
No. Who's my favorite? Whose shirt do I have right there?
Chucky.
Chucky.
There you go. You can do the Child's Play movies.
Daddy.
What?
I wanted to be Michael Myers so tomorrow, and Kenny will be Jason.
You want to dress up like Michael Myers tomorrow?
No,
And Kenny will
you.
be Jason?
No, you dress up like Michael Myers tomorrow, and Kenny will be Jason.
Well, who are you going to be?
Chucky.
Deal. All right, we're going to talk about the Exorcist
Parenting
now,
done
okay?
right, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
Ow.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10 wholesome moment.
Well, now she has to make an appearance every time we do one.
There you go.
You
Appearance
want to come back
last time.
downstairs for me now? I think we've got to sit here and be quiet, okay? We got to listen. Now we got to use our ears, not our mouth, okay?
But The Exorcist is good.
Oh, I actually have seen 2 of the Phantasm movies.
That would
Part
be
3 is so good.
Oh, here we go.
there
How
you go.
many are there? I don't even know.
5? They're 5. Yeah, 5.
Oh, okay. That's not too horrible. I wonder if they're streaming.
They are.
Are they all
Jason, I'll
streaming?
say.
I didn't know that. Oh, I guess Shudder has all of them, right?
Daddy, there's 2.
Or no?
There's 2.
I like to. The pre-planning of outfits is cute. Yeah.
I think
I actually genuinely don't have, going back to the original topic, I actually don't
Oh.
have very high hopes for The Exorcist for the same reason as the, yep, perfect. Just
There you
hold it
go.
right there. Like, I think that the like, I'm with you on the announcing trilogies. They just did the same thing with FNAF. And they just did the same thing because they literally started filming and like wrapped up all 3 of the new Strangers movies. And I'm like, why are we doing this? So I feel the same way. And I swear, I'm actually a huge advocate for redos, reboots, remakes, not necessarily continuations, but I'm normally like a huge advocate for that because I like the idea of having an opportunity to bring like a newer generation into some older stuff, right? But I really thought The Exorcist was safe. I thought it was one of those ones that nobody would think to touch. And then,
thinking
here we are.
The thing with me is the reason I'm a huge fan of remakes is for what you just said.
Yeah.
When they announced Halloween 2018, the viewership and sales of Halloween 1978 went up something like 76%.
Yep.
So if
Right.
you don't like a remake or a reboot or a requel, it's not going to ruin the original for you. It's not like they're going to come in your house and take the original and you can never watch it again.
That's true.
And
Not yet.
when
Not yet.
I like a remake the most is like Evil Dead 2013, Child's Play 2019, House of Wax 2005.
So you
When
liked
they-
2019?
I love 2019.
That's so
I
nice to hear as you
love
being
it.
like a big Chucky fan because I actually liked it too. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I think it has.
Dad, my sister's.
That's your sister? Okay, but remember, right now we're using our ears. 2019, I think, has some of the best kills, and it does what I love. It takes the ideas of the original, but it makes it its own. 2019
Daddy.
knew what, baby?
Oh, can I go out?
Yep, go downstairs.
She's like,
Child's Play
eh.
2019 knew that Brad Dourif's Chucky could not be redone. So how can we?
Yeah,
use
they
this
made it different.
and reinvent it and make it its own thing. I think Child's Play 2019, and everybody that knows me knows I've said this 1,000 times. I love you too, sweet girl. Go downstairs, okay? If you sit down over here, you can stay up here, okay? If Child's Play 2019 would have been called Buddy from the World of Child's Play, I think it would have been way more successful.
Way more
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
received. Yeah, you're right. You are totally right.
I also think that if that movie, they couldn't have. If that movie, hey, if that movie
Nice,
was
are you
super
talking about
successful-
Phantasm? Because I think
Yes.
Phantasm
Yes.
is on Shudder. I think I've seen
Yeah.
it.
I think
Of
because
all
even if
the
2019 was uber successful, they couldn't have had Child's Play 2 because that studio did not own the rights to the name Child's Play 2.
Yes.
So if you would have called it Buddy from the World of Child's Play, the sequel wrote itself. You could have had the Buddy Bear from the World of Child's Play. You know, you could have easily continued that franchise on a whole nother level, and you could have respected Don Mancini's wishes of not remaking Child's Play.
I've not read.
Um,
Yeah.
So many things could have happened by a title change.
1978 Michael Myers or The Exorcist. I'm going Exorcist.
Exorcist.
Halloween. It's my favorite horror movie of all time.
It's The Strangers trilogy better be good. You know what? I'm crossing my
Better
fingers
be.
and toes.
And-
Hey, what's up, Blood and Bruce? Glad you stopped by.
Hey, what's up?
And
I
I
am
will
one
admit,
of-
kind of going back to The Exorcist, I think the one thing that really knocks off all the movies, well, maybe not, the third one, is their length. They're all really long.
You know what? I went into this because I was like, oh, none of them are streaming. Well, okay, 3 is streaming, but 2 wasn't. I had to pay to watch 2. But my thought was, I was like, you know what though? It'll be fine because then there's not going to be ads and then it's only going to be like an hour and a half. That is not accurate.
Think again.
They're all 2-hour movies.
Yeah, they're all long.
Why? I started.
You should have
messaging
illegally
my friends
downloaded
back.
it. No one would have cared.
Like 20 minutes into or 30 minutes
You'd
into
be doing the world a service by illegally downloading the second one.
Take money away from
that's
them. We
true.
don't care.
Well, so I got like 20 minutes into part 2 and I messaged my friend Kat and I was like, why is this 2 hours long? Why? It didn't need to be. Also, I've heard plenty of people say they prefer Strangers Pray at Night over the original.
I can see that's fair.
I'm not trying to be like, oh, what did I just drop? It's a name. But my buddy Damien Maffei is in the Strangers Pray at Night, and he was so good. Like, so
That's cool.
That's why I have like a soft spot for it because a homie's in it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm really nervous about the concept of the new one having already being announced as a trilogy. I think that's a mistake. I will give the first one a chance. I am not 100% committed to the idea of going to see it in theaters. We shall see. But I really love the first one so much. The first one is one of only 2 movies that has ever given me like repeat nightmares. It's one of only 2 that have done that in my entire life of watching, my 30 years of watching horror. And it's just always been something that I've really loved. It opened up a world where, like, with religion horror for me, like it's up pretty high on a pedestal. So when they announced a remake, I immediately was like,
oh
no.
What would you say is the scariest moment out of all 3 movies? Out of curiosity. That's right. Hit you with the big question.
It's going to sound so cliche, and I know people are probably going to roll their eyes. When she goes down the stairs, when she climbs backwards down the stairs.
That's fair.
That scene in that movie is the reason people walking like that or running down hallways on all fours scares the absolute F out of me. Like, I cannot, like, I can picture it in my head right now, and I'm freaking myself out. I do not like that scene at all. The head spin
terrified me as a kid. Scared
that
the
one was pretty
shit
scary.
out of me. Like that to me was a terrifying moment. And,
right.
Another really scary one. And when Father Karras, I think it is, he's running and he sees his mother, and she's like, on the sidewalk, and he just starts running even faster. Like, that moment always like just really took. And
that's a good one
really,
too.
And that's where you get one of the Pazuzu flashes. But that
the
moment
face
to
on
me,
the screen.
yes, is so scary.
What about you? What's yours, Radar?
It's actually the old lady on the ceiling from the third one, because George C. Scott is just like going like this, like completely unaware, just like, I wonder where she could be. And she's just right fucking there, and it's just that much more horrifying. Like, not only is she just doing an inhuman thing, but like the dude she's gonna attack is just completely fucking oblivious to it.
Well, and that's one of those scenes I was talking about earlier where you genuinely don't expect that to happen. So when she climbs, when she crawls, and again, it originates from the original with her coming down the stairs like that, crawling stuff freaks me out. So when you see her come on at the very corner of the screen, there's then that moment where he is like, we get that upward shot where he's like right here and we can see her right above him, and you're just like,
dude.
So just look up for 1 second.
And it's crazy too, because it happens in broad daylight too. The old lady like
around all these other people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
It goes against like all conventional norms of when a scary moment should happen. And again, I just love George C. Scott's face going like,
He's like that meme when you're waiting on something and it's like the 4 pictures of the guy just like in different places looking around.
Yeah.
Just
as this fucking creepy
it's
ass
like
lady
right
just
here.
like right there, like the world's biggest spider just watching over you.
The jump scare in Exorcist 3, you all know the one, genuinely got me when I already knew about it. That happened to me too. It was the cold, dread, life draining out of you kind of scare. You know what makes that scare so effective? And they talk about this in the Shudder show, is that long sequence of the nurse getting up and going to the other room, and you get that little break that like, okay, that was our jump scare. Let's move on with our night, and then there's this long, just this persistently long shot of this series of events, the cop leaving, and then you're like, oh no, but then he comes back and you're like, oh, okay, but then he leaves again. You're like, oh no. And then that's when it happens, right? It's like this perfectly planned setup of events and the way that it was shot with the camera.
Very good.
Totally right.
Delicious.
Danny says the first time the priests try and visit Reagan, just the tension is palpable.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite shots.
That's a
when
good
he's
one.
standing outside the house and he's got, his briefcase of like preacher stuff. Like, hey, I'm going to save lives with this briefcase. That shot is just like the fog and everything is just
funny.
Yeah.
Save people with the briefcase.
I love how the like.
He's like, I have like water and wood in here. We're good to go. Don't worry, guys. I brought
a lighter and wood.
That's been nailed together.
I love how the theme for The Exorcist is just from someone's album.
Yeah.
That is such a great part too, that some dude was just like, this is my first album, and people went, you made a pretty banger of a horror theme in there. We're going to take that.
I want you guys to research this after I tell you this story, because this is genuinely true.
Okay.
Ellen, who plays the mother in The Exorcist, she went to watch it in the cinema when it came out. She wanted to see it, like they didn't do like now where you get screenings and, download it, Ellen. So she went there and this lady screamed and passed out at a moment. And she ran to help the lady and she was like, I'm not going to help this lady because she's going to wake up and the first thing she's going to see is me. And it's like, can you imagine you're freaking out about this movie? You passed out
and then you wake up and the characters in your face.
Oh my God.
God's here. It's okay. I thought that was the best story I've ever heard.
Oh, man.
I would have tried to save her for sure. Lady, wake up. It's okay. We're all here.
Oh, no.
Her head probably would have exploded.
Yeah. They give you a cue. Oh, yes. My cat is So normally he gets up and he lays right next to my laptop because the heat comes out, but my cup and my water are in the way, and he's just looking at me like, really, bitch? Like, where am I supposed to lay? Right. Anyway.
You get a cat, I get a kid, whatever.
They give you what you assume is the jump scare for the moment, slowly tricking you with a sense of security. You're held at that safe distance at that last minute. They literally pull you in. And I'm like, and I'm with Dice on this one too, because when I saw 3 for the first time, I already knew about that moment. Because that's like the moment from 3 that everybody talks about.
Right.
And so I already knew about that moment. And then but it still was effective because all of the stuff leading up to it. Oh yeah. Plus the music, Sting. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man.
In the horror multiverse, how about Art the Clown in the Exorcist world?
Are they exorcising Art the Clown from people?
Ken looks frozen.
Well, it's like, because if you think, like, I've compared Terrifier 2 to The Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why is Terrifier 2 completely proved me wrong. And I said that we would never get another film like The Exorcist, where people were puking in the theater and leaving, crying and screaming and running. And Terrifier 2 did that. Like, people were puking in the theater. They were screaming. They were leaving early. It made such a huge... Terrifier 2 made such a huge impact on what it did. Terrifier 3 has already been greenlit for a nationwide theatrical release. Yep. Fucking brilliant. And this movie was Terrifier 2 showed that horror rules the fucking theatrical world. This movie was made on what, $50,000 and brought in $10 million. It was so successful in theaters that people were calling like, this movie needs to be played in our theater now. Like that's tremendous.
Yeah. So far, there have been 2 moments that got me: Exorcist 3 and the severed head. We've all got that head memory from Jaws. That head memory from Jaws. Oh my God!
I've been married for 18 years. I want to know where we get. No, I'm not even. Not gonna finish it.
Nathan says, "Gosh, I love Terrifier 2."
To throw into the jump scare, what is it? Insidious or Sinister with the lawnmower scene?
My favorite jump scare of all time.
That's up there on my list too. That one effed me up in theaters.
We did our top 10 favorite jump scares of all time, and that was my number 1 because you know it's coming, but it's so elongated, and you're waiting, and then you finally just get the and then Ethan Hawke jump back like perfect
because you didn't expect it. That's actually not only is that one of my favorite jump scares, that's one of few that I legitimately looked away from. because
It's
I
good.
was so like not ready.
Right. Well, and you think what's going to happen doesn't happen, but that's what makes it so brilliant. You think it's going to be gory and everything, but it's just a quick cut.
It's like, and that sound, that like shrieking sound.
I hate jump scares. I hate them. From a
I'm not a
filmmaker
fan
standpoint,
either.
I feel like it's lazy. I feel like movies that don't have like I hate to keep going back to it, but The Dark and the Wicked. There's so few jump scares in that movie, but it's just
That movie's
constant
effective.
tension and terror, and you're begging for a jump scare. You're like, please give me a jump
I
scare
need
to
a
break
break.
the fucking tension, and it doesn't. It's like, nope.
Radar, have you seen that one?
I have not. So
It's on Shudder. You should.
Bro.
You got to watch it. It's really good. I was gonna about to spoil something. I was like, let me ask really quick. It's really it's really really good. Blood and Bruise. Can't wait for Terrifier 3.
Yes.
Nathan says a bit too long, but don't care. It's great.
Terrifier 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you need to watch The Dark and the Wicked. It's
Dude,
very
Dark
good.
and the Wicked. All right.
I'm telling you, like, I watched that movie. People have heard me say this before, but it's genuine and it's real. I watched The Dark and the Wicked at like 2:00 in the afternoon with my wife, and I was like, "We can open the blinds if you want. It's cool.
It's
we
intense.
can let a little more light in here."
I watched
like,
it alone at night, and I was so uncomfortable. I had like anxiety, like I had to watch something fun, like after I turned it off.
She
It's
told you
good,
not to
though,
come.
because you're exactly right though. Once the scary, uncomfortable parts start, they don't really stop until the end of the movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And
you're constantly
the
begging.
note that it ends on is just as bad.
Please give me a jump scare. Please, I'm begging you, give me a jump scare.
You want a break from the tension.
Make me laugh. Please break this tension. And they're like, "Oh, nope. We're just gonna stay right here."
Man.
Yeah.
Does it have like what would you consider like a good ending or like a bad ending? You know, like a good ending, everyone's happy.
It has an ending that makes sense to the scope of the film.
Yes.
Any other ending to this film would not have made sense.
You won't be disappointed, but you're not going to have fluffy bunny feelings.
Right. That's what I meant. Like,
yeah, no.
Like
have you seen American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
It's much like that ending.
It's similar. Yeah.
Do they also play a inappropriate song for the end credits?
No,
the end music is actually quite important.
Like, I couldn't have imagined a better ending for American Werewolf in London. Like, the ending's sad. It's terrible. Like, I don't want that to happen. But it's the best ending for that movie.
Oh yeah,
100%.
And I won't lie, that song not being like appropriate for it, that makes it better for me. Honestly.
Even better.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you have a comedic director directing a horror movie.
I think that's also why I like The Exorcist a lot too. Like the original one is because that's not a happy ending.
No,
Damien yeets himself out the window. He does everything like he does the self-righteous thing and then just out the window, which a great.
Sometimes the darkest endings make the most sense. The Mist. I love.
Oh my god!
Love that ending. Love it.
That's such a.
I think they should do. Where's Ashton? Is Ashton still in the chat? We need to do a part 2 to The Mist, where it's just dad on dating apps called The Moist, and he's like, "I don't have wife or kids anymore. Let's go and find someone to tango with."
Autopsy of Jane Doe. Oh, that one has an ending like that
Dark
too.
Ass ending too. Yeah.
That's
we just talked about this on a stream. This is okay. I'm not trying to be dirty or perverted. The whole time that Jane Doe is in there, that's a real actress. There's never a body double. It's always her. And part of her contract for signing on to this film was she had to grow a large amount of pubic hair, because if they were able to see anything down there, the film would have had an NC-17 rating. Yeah, so in order to have the coverage, she had to grow a fair amount of pubic hair. And it's like, just imagine you're in that audition. Like, okay, you're not going to need wardrobe. However, you're not going to need razors either. We need to get rid of those. Don't need those anymore. And that's part of, to me, the commitment of the lady that did it. She was a yoga instructor, so she was able to control her breathing really, really well. Yep. And they were just like, yeah, you got to grow a bush. That's part of the movie, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's such an interesting thing to put in someone's contract. Like, yeah, we'll make sure your food is delivered on time. Yeah, you'll get 2% of revenue, but you got to make sure that bush is huge.
Right. We need 70s bush.
We need
I want sideburns. Angel's about to ground us.
Where did this come from?
Talking about endings.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, the original one does blow.
Yeah.
I will go as far as to say, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is the only ending in that whole franchise that's worth a damn.
I do like the ending of the remake.
I love Nightmare on Elm Street, but all those endings are dog shit. They're all so bad. How do we kill Freddy? Put holy water on him. Make him look in a mirror. I don't know. Oh, what? He's a dream demon now? Burn him. That's cool. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I liked the ending of I liked the remake in general, but I liked I thought the ending was good.
It's fine. It's okay. I'm not going to say I love it because I don't. But it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be.
Not as bad as Exorcist 2.
Oh my God. Nowhere in the same ball. That's not even on the same playing field, let alone ballpark. The thing about the Nightmare remake that makes me laugh so hard is when I ask people, like, just being genuine, not being like, facetious, like, why don't you like it? I'm like, well, I don't like Freddy. I'm like, so you don't like the child killer, the child molester. So the guy did his job.
Yeah. Understood. Yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, because like Robert Englund, we loved him. Like we've talked about this before, Angel. Like back in the day, like he was literally on like Nick at Night getting slimed. Like, where are the kids? Ha! They slime. Yeah. Like you couldn't do that with Jack Haley because he knew the role. Like he really did what he was supposed to do, and he made you hate him. Like Robert Englund, when he would give his one-liners, you'd be like, yes. Like Jackie Earle Haley was like, what do you want to play next? And she's like, fuck you. Ooh, sounds fun. Like you're genuinely like, oh, I hate
that. No, that line he has about the brain still going after the heart has stopped, and he's like, "We've got like 7 more minutes." I was like,
"Why are you screaming?
I haven't even cut you yet."
I love, I love so Jackie Earle Haley. Like he made you hate the bad guy.
What you're
that's what I love about him. Like he made you. He played the role so damn well that you hated him. Like I loved it. Loved his performance in the remake.
Nathan says, I love the remake. CGI really shit, but that's the only problem.
That's the biggest problem though. Is
that Ashton, I hate the Nightmare remake.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you
Jackie was a good Freddy though.
Yes. Yeah. We were talking earlier about, when you take a remake, just take it and make it your own. Yeah. Nightmare did not do that enough.
It did.
He took iconic scenes like pushing on the wall and like did it all CGI and like you did too many things.
Yeah.
You didn't take enough, shots. The things they did that were original were fantastic. Like the micro naps, fucking brilliant.
That was
scene
really
where they're
good.
walking in the convenience store and Freddy's shaking shit off the wall.
That was
and
good.
you see, Rooney Mara. She's like, it's going back and forth between in the convenience store and in the boiler room. Like those.
That was great. So well done.
But all the stuff that
the
they
micro nap concept was fire.
Yes, so good.
Loved it.
Dang, there's an infamous part of like people are always going to hate remakes, but I mean, there's an infamous part like someone tells an infamous story about Invasions of the Body Snatchers, the '78 one, and how they were in the process of filming it, and like a homeless guy kind of walked in on them like filming it because they were doing it like a scene on the street, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, well, we're remaking Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And he stops and goes like, I like the original better. And that's always going to happen. But people are just going to hate the remake automatically.
Even with the original, people in the chat, you guys, if you don't know this, check it out. The scene is on YouTube. There's a deleted scene from the original Nightmare on Elm Street where when they're downstairs and Nancy's mom is showing her the glove and the hat, she gives a speech about how Fred Krueger killed Nancy's younger brother. And that's a big reason why they are also, this family in particular is so hateful towards Fred Krueger, why they want to hide his memory, because he killed their kid. He killed Nancy's little brother. And the scene is on YouTube. You can watch the actual scene on YouTube. And I wish they would have left that in the film. Like that builds that emotional thing. Like you get more emotionally invested when you find out that John Saxon had a little boy that got offed. It's like, I see why you're so mad, Mr. John.
Mr. John?
Mr. John? I see why you're mad, Mr. John.
It's like you sound like the kids in school when they have like a substitute teacher, but you know their first name. You're like,
The
Mr.
cool
John?
substitute that comes in like, all right, no horseplay. Got you. Where's the projector? Oh, Mr. John, you're funny.
Shucks.
All right. Well, I'm going to get ready to wind down. Sorry for the confusion or me messing up the time on you guys, and I'm grateful you were still able to make it. Thank you for coming, both of you.
Sorry we didn't talk about the Exorcist franchise.
Yeah, we did.
This is like Exorcist and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street.
By the way, I have ADHD, so it's just like, hey, oh, squirrel. Yeah, cool. Nightmares. Those are cool.
No worries. Yeah, all of the links for Ken and Sledgehammer Horror and for Radar are in the comments, or I mean in the description for this episode, so go check them out. Radar also does content with Horror Fiend TV, which if you watch anything on my channel, you know who they are. So he does stuff over there sometimes too. Yeah, that's pretty much. Thank you guys, everybody in the chat, for coming and hanging out. Always a good time. And that's all we have for this one. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all later. Enjoy